2023 is finally here, and it feels like we're in the future with a number like that. And in the beginning of every new year, most people like to find ways to better themselves. So for that reason, in this video, I'm going to share with you what I think are the best books for moms in 2023. Hey guys, it's Vani from Mrs. Mom's Homeschool, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm a homeschooling mom to 3 kids. However, my oldest child is in public school. I homeschool 2 out of the 3 now. And this video is to share with you guys the books that I think are the best books for moms for 2023. So whether you're a homeschooling mom or not, these books are going to really help you to better yourself in one way or another. Most of them are Christian based or written by Christian authors, and some of them are in parenting, and some of them are just for you to be a better person overall. If you're one of my homeschooling moms, these are not typically what you would find as homeschooling books, but they definitely help you as a mother, because you're a mother first, and in becoming a better mother, you can be a better homeschool teacher for your children as well. So let's get into these books. Now, I don't have them all with me. As you can see by the background, I am not home. I am in a beautiful cabin in Tennessee right now as I'm filming this week's videos. And so I'm going to share with you the books as I'm going to show them to you on my laptop on ThriftBooks.com, and there you'll also be able to see how cheap you can get them for. I get all my books. I started to purchase my books now, and I get them off of ThriftBooks.com. That way I always have them and I can go back and read them in the future. So I do have 3 of my books right now. So first I'm going to go into more devotional like books, and then we're going to separate them by categories. I have books for parents of teenagers, books for parents of boys. Let's start with our devotionals. My ultimate favorite devotional right now, but this is the Better Mom devotional, and it says it's shaping our hearts as we shape our homes. So each day in this devotional, you get a Bible verse and a topic. Today's was called Take Fun More Seriously, and it has a Proverbs 31 verse that says, she is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. And then there is a thought-provoking short devotional that you can do in 5 minutes, and some questions here for you to think about what you read, and also a little prayer. And what I really love about this devotional is that it really does get you thinking about the different aspects of your life as a mother and motherhood. And it gives you some time to sit there and reflect. Am I a fun mom? Is my home a fun place to live in? And luckily, I can say yes, I think it is. I asked my kids and they said yes as well. But the point is, it gets you to think about the different topics and the different things, and you just kind of think about them and mull them over in your mind and pray about them, and think of the different ways that you can better yourself and better your home and better yourself as a mother. The next devotional is the Woman's Devotional Guide to the Bible. So this is, it's great to have these other devotionals, but you should always be digging into God's Word. And my favorite Bible right now is the Joyce Meyer's Bible, because it's the Amplified version, so it gives you a little bit more detail and definitions into the different words that are used in the Bible. But she also has little sections in there where you can read more about what Joyce Meyer has to say on the topic. And I know there are mixed opinions about her, but I love her. I love her teachings. I love her practical teachings. And I love having the Bible because I can read something and then put it to use in my life. And so that's the Bible that I use to do this devotional. So this devotional will have you read sometimes quite a lot, sometimes 3 chapters a day before going into the devotional, and it's for every single day. And the devotional itself, it'll sometimes have parts where you have the story behind the story. They'll have a message, the main point, and notes to take. Sometimes there's questions for you to think about. Sometimes the devotional is just 1 quick page, and sometimes it's 2, usually not more than 2 pages. So I really like this to help me in reading the Bible more. I really love the Elizabeth George devotionals that have different topics. Sometimes they're book topics, and the one that I'm reading right now is called A Woman Who Reflects the Heart of Jesus, 30 Ways to Christ-like Character. It breaks down 30 different characteristics that Jesus has. It goes into detail about how he showed these different characteristics in his life, in his walk here on earth, and what we can do to have those type of characteristics in our life, whether it be generosity or kindness or forgiveness or patience. It really helps you to think about yourself and work through those issues to be more like Christ. Now I want to move on to books that relate to us as mothers. And this next book, I read only the first chapter. I'm going to read the rest of the book when I'm finishing a couple of others, but the first chapter made me cry, and it's called Strong Mothers, Strong Sons. And that first chapter was explaining how much our sons love us and how they see us and how we are their first loves, and how when they grow up and fall in love, that shift in the relationship changes. Unlike when our daughters fall in love and grow up and get married, we can still have an intimate relationship with them, but with our sons, it's going to change. It talks about how their relationship with us will guide them in their relationship with other women, whether it's their first love or their wife or their teacher or their sisters. Their relationship with us, if they can trust us, then they're nurtured by us and they're taken care of by us, that they know that women are trustworthy and they see them in a different way. It talks about showing them what a woman is like and what a woman should be, and loving him through all the different stages of his life. Strong Mothers, Strong Sons is such a beautiful book, and I cannot wait to finish the rest of it. This next book is also for moms of boys, and it's called The Wonder of Boys. And it says, I haven't read it yet, so I'm going to read to you what it says, but the title is The Wonder of Boys, what parents, mentors, and educators can do to shape boys into exceptional men. The author is describing what boys need to become strong, responsible, and sensitive men. And instead of encouraging us to stifle our boys' natural propensities to competition and aggression, it teaches us how to use them and guidelines for having our boys channeling those behaviors. Talks about the boys' need for primary and extended family, relationship with mentors, and intense support from their school and community, and how we can provide this to the boys that we love. So this is on my to be read list for 2020. Finally, do you have teenagers? Well, I have a couple of wonderful books for you. And the first one is The 5 Love Languages of Teenagers. Now, at first, I had this book for a very long time, and I didn't pick it up to read it because I had read the original 5 love languages, and I said, okay, well, I know the love languages already, so I just have to show it to my teenager. But I didn't even know what my teenager's love language was until one day something happened and she told me what it was. And so this talks about how you can discover their love languages. But before it even gets into the love languages, it talks about teenagers and their search for identity and independence. It talks about similarities with the past teenage generations and the differences and all the different things that they face now, including morality and values and questions about the future, thinking about their sexuality and marriage. It talks about the 5 fundamental differences from then and now, including technology and their exposure to violence and sex and the fragmented family, about their neutral moral and religious views. Those are the 5 major differences in teenagers now versus how when we were growing up. And at the end of every chapter talks about how parents can guide their teenagers. After it explains each of the love languages, it shows you how you can meet those needs for your teenager and what happens if you don't, by using examples of teenagers found in this author who was, I believe, is a psychologist in his practice. So I definitely recommend, if you have teenagers, to read The 5 Love Languages of Teenagers. The next book on teenagers you must get is called Have a New Teenager by Friday, From Mouthy and Moody to Respectful and Responsible in 5 Days. This book was a game changer. It helps you to see your teen in such a different light so that you can relate to him or her in a better way than you have in the past. And then it goes through all the different things that your teenager might be giving you problems with, whether it's an attitude, cleaning their room, or more serious things like if their teenager, God forbid, is sexually active or doing drugs and things that every parent dreads for their kid. So it goes from mild to severe things, and then so what you can do if you find out. So it's almost like a Bible for parents, for teenagers. So you have a situation, you can go in there and read the suggestions on how to deal with these different issues. So I really love this book. It's definitely definitely a book to buy. This next book, oh my God, this book was so good too. It's called Tough Guys and Drama Queens. And what I love about this book and some of these other books that I've mentioned with the teenagers is it takes into account now all the technology that our kids have access to now. And I know as a homeschooler, we shelter our kids, especially when they're young, but eventually we won't be able to do that. And sometimes some of you guys may have teenagers where you were not able to do that. Maybe you gave them a phone, maybe they're begging for social media because all of their friends have it and they're desperate for it. And then you've seen all these major changes, or they've, there's so much I can go into on this topic. Maybe I'll make a separate video, but if you have a teenager, you definitely need to get this book as well. It talks about all the things that we will face so that we're not blindsided as parents to our teenagers. And just like the other book that I just recommended on teens, it gives you lots of practical ways and things to do and how to discipline and how to require respect, but how to also respond to situations, not freak out over things, how to set boundaries, and so much more. I mean, I have pages bookmarked with sticky notes all over this thing, and I'm really hoping that my husband reads all those pages. It's really important for both parents to be on the same page. And if your spouse is not a reader, maybe reading it to him, different sections that you want to implement into your parenting. But this book was amazing. This next book is a high school prep genius book. It's an academic guide to excellence. And as homeschooling parents, I think it's necessary for us to get books like these, especially if you have your first upcoming homeschooled high schooler, so that we can know how to prepare them. It's how do we best prepare them for college? And it gives parents all the answers to questions that they ask about high school and the questions that they should ask. Everything from transcript preparation to nailing the college interview. It teaches how to turn a student's high school career into a springboard of lifelong success. So I need to be reading this book this year, definitely over the summer, to prepare my high schooler who's not homeschooled anymore for her junior year in high school and going forward in college. I think I could get some stuff out of this. I'm not sure if this is a homeschool book or not. It kind of makes me feel like it is, but then it kind of makes me feel like it isn't. But then I have a 6th grader who is got to get prepared for high school. So this is probably what I'm going to be reading over the summer to get my mind on him for eventual high school. And at home, I'm planning to homeschool him through high school. But then for my teenager who's in high school, also to help her through all these other things, SATs and all that other stuff that's happening, because I am so lost. I'm not there yet. I have when your kid is in school, they kind of just do everything. And as a homeschooler, you control everything. And it's just very confusing for me right now. So that's why I got this book. This next book I'm also excited to start reading, and it is called Life Skills for Kids. And it teaches all kinds of skills, balancing a checkbook, boiling an egg, doing the laundry, reading a map, and a lot more. Things that I necessarily don't always think about. As homeschoolers, we do try to do this in our everyday lives, but when you have a child who's not homeschooled, you don't have a lot of time with them during the day. What are those very important things that you need? I have a child who's going to be going off to college in a couple of years, and I want to make sure that she is best prepared to be able to take care of herself out there in the real world. So I thought getting a book like this would help me to make sure she's 100% prepared, and then to follow along with the others, with the younger two. But before I read that book, I need to be reading this one. This is the book that I'm reading right now, and it's called The Self-Driven Child. And it talks about giving your kids more control over their lives and helping them be more self-driven. And I'm reading it now, and I'm really interested to see what else it says. It talks about a lot of independence, more than what I'm used to. So we're going to see, when you're reading books, it's okay to disagree with some of the things the author says. But I think that out of everything, we can always take something from it and use that in our lives. So I want to read this book first, because if I'm going to be teaching life skills, I need to make sure that my kids are self-driven first. That way they want to do these things for themselves. So we're going to read this one first and then read the next one. This next book is for you, Mom. It's all about you. Honestly, how many of us have not struggled or had maybe a traumatic event or have had past hurts of some sort that we need to get past? Well, this book is called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And it talks about the science behind your emotions, the deep science behind your emotions, stemming from birth, actually. And it goes through a lot of detail on how your emotions affect you as a person, how it affects your health. And then it has a kind of an unconventional way to dealing with it. And it is a Christian author, but it's talking about using what they call a script to speak to your self-conscious self and sort through these different emotions and replace your negative emotions and behaviors with the opposite positive emotions and desirable behaviors and outcomes that you want. And it's pretty crazy, but it really, really works. And when I started this book at first, all these emotions, like tons of emotions, were coming to the forefront of my mind. And I was able to use the script with each and every one. And then just doing these devotionals and, developing my relationship with the Lord and going to church and just doing a whole, when you're trying to heal yourself from different things, you got to do a bunch of stuff. It's not just read a book, and it's a lot of different areas that you have to work out and sort through in order to get that healing. And so this book was definitely a big help and a big part of you healing your subconscious self in order to move on with things in your life. And I'm telling you, you have to read it to understand exactly what I'm talking about. But I 100% recommend this book if you're a person who has buried feelings and you have different emotions and stuff that are hindering you from maybe moving forward in relationships or moving forward in life. This is definitely a must read. This next book is called Sticky Faith: Everyday Ideas to Build Lasting Faith in Your Kids. And I'm excited to read this book as well. Sticky Faith delivers positive and practical ideas to nurture within your kids a living, loving faith that lasts a lifetime. And if you saw my New Year's resolutions or my New Year's goals, one of the things I really want to do is instill a strong faith in my kids, because we have a lot of people in our lives who are not saved and like to talk about their lack of belief in front of the kids when they're here, and I always have to stop the conversations, but I want my kids to be resilient and have a strong faith that no one can move. So these are all the books that I'm either reading, have read, or will be reading for 2023. And I really feel like in reading, I just picked up reading again. I love reading, and I just stopped doing it after having kids. I started again last year, and I met a goal of reading at least a book almost every month. And I really do feel like a better parent from it. I really do. I really feel like it's helped me, especially with the teenage years and coping and dealing with a lot of the issues that we had been having and preparing me for different things. And I'm really excited to continue learning, and I encourage you guys to read as well. If you're not a reader, then I'm sure all these books are on audiobooks. So definitely check them out, and you can even get them from the library if you don't want to purchase them. But I hope that you guys like these. Which one was your favorite? Or is there books that you recommend, whether if it's for parenting or homeschooling or faith books? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to get some more suggestions, and I'm sure the other viewers would as well. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.